Welcome to The Explainer. So, what happens when a new, maybe even groundbreaking idea is born outside the traditional walls of a university or research lab? Well, today, we're going to follow the actual paper trail of one innovator's journey to get his work seen by the very system that's supposed to validate new ideas. And that's the central question, isn't it? If you're not already part of the club, how do you even get a foot in the door? How do you get your work in front of the people who, hold all the keys? We're about to watch one person's attempt to do just that. Okay, so let's meet our protagonist. His name is Davey Hoagland, and he's an independent researcher. He's developed this whole new AI methodology he calls context engineering, and he's convinced it's a pretty big deal. His journey kicks off with this email. He's polite, but you can feel the determination. He says he's an independent researcher, completely new to the academic world, and he's just looking for some guidance on how to get his work properly peer-reviewed. So here's the thing. He's come up with this totally new concept, all on his own from the outside. But now he's up against this massive challenge. How in the world does he get it validated by the gatekeepers of the established academic system? It is the classic innovator's dilemma. So what is this idea? Well, he calls context engineering a human-centric way for us to interact with AI. The whole point is to make sure that AI systems are operating within a framework of values and logic that we, humans, define. And get this, he didn't just dream this up, he actually built a working prototype called the alignment auditor. He thinks this could have huge implications for AI safety and ethics. So what's his first move? Well, he doesn't just, shout into the void. He does his homework. He finds a recognized authority in the field and reaches out, basically looking for a map to help him navigate this really complex territory. He ends up contacting Professor Jeroen van den Hoven, who's a really respected expert in AI ethics. In his email, he lays it all out, explaining his unique interdisciplinary work, and then he asks for some really specific advice on which scientific journal would be most suitable for submitting an unconventional single-authored study. And you know what? The professor's response is quick and super helpful. He sends back this list of potential journals, calling them the most obvious ones. For our researcher, this is gold. It's exactly the kind of expert guidance he was hoping for, a clear, actionable path forward. So now he's armed with this advice from an expert, he's got the map. The next logical step in his quest is to actually start walking the path. And he doesn't waste any time. He follows up right away with the professor, thanking him for the sustainable response, and he confirms that he's already taken the advice to heart and that his work is already written up in a scientific paper with the intention of submitting it for review. He's ready to go. The mission is now crystal clear. The next step, as he puts it, is to get an assessment from scientific peers. Now, what that means is submitting his work to a major publisher, like Springer Nature, and having other experts in the field tear it apart and evaluate it. That is the absolute gold standard for getting your work validated. But, and you probably knew there was a but coming, this is where the journey, which started out so well, just hits a massive wall, a really significant and frustrating obstacle. Just look at this timeline. He gets the advice in September and submits his paper, and then crickets. Months tick by. By the end of March of the next year, after being told his paper was under peer review, he's heard nothing. Zero communication from the publisher. He's just left completely in the dark. And what's really fascinating is the follow-up email he's forced to send to the professor 6 months later. He has to explain that after his paper was sent to the journal AI and Ethics, he has received no further information or reaction from the publisher, Springer Nature. He's basically been ghosted. And this quote right here from his correspondence, it just perfectly sums up his frustration. He feels like he keeps hitting this wall, and not because his work is bad, but because, in his own words, people are either not understanding or being unwilling to take the time to engage with something that's genuinely new. So, faced with this wall of silence from the formal system, he doesn't give up. Instead, he just widens his search. He shows some pretty incredible persistence here, refusing to let these setbacks stop him. He changes tactics. It's a smart move. He's thinking, okay, if the formal system won't respond, I'll try to go around it. He starts reaching out directly to other big names in the field, like Professor Mark Kokelberg. And notice, he's not even asking for a path to publication anymore. He's just asking for a quick expert opinion to see if he's even onto something. Then he takes it up another level. He goes straight to official bodies, like the European Union's AI office. He makes a direct case that his work, which focuses on 100% verifiable logic, could be a huge contribution to the standards needed for high-risk AI under the new EU AI Act. He's connecting his idea to real-world policy. Okay, so let's zoom out. We've followed this whole paper trail, this entire saga. What does this one documented story really tell us about the bigger picture, about how we as a society validate new ideas? This whole journey really leaves us with one critical question. Here we have a researcher who, by all accounts, did everything right. He sought expert advice, he wrote a professional paper, he submitted it through the proper channels, and he was met with total silence. It forces you to ask, are the systems we've built to filter for quality also acting as barriers to real, genuine innovation? And maybe more importantly, how many other great ideas are just lost in that silence? What do you think?